If you're a snowmobiler, and you probably are because you're watching this show, then you know that trucks and trailers are a big part of the snowmobile experience, hauling our sleds to where we go ride. But you may also know that getting there can be a bit of a challenge. If you're like us, bad weather doesn't mean you stay home. No way. You've got your destination booked, your buddies are on the way, and you've committed to your vacation. And bad weather on the roads is not going to get in your way. Plus, you have a 4x4 and big chunky tires that can get through anything, which helps for sure if you've got it. But even on light trucks like this, winter-rated tires can give you that extra bit of grip and safety on our Canadian wintry roads.
You have to get the proper tires for the conditions that you're driving on. Whether it's racing or driving, bringing the kids to school, you gotta have the right shoes on, the right tires on. So it's paramount, absolutely. As a driver, I mean, your stress level goes down if you have the proper shoes on. It's as simple as that. It's a peace of mind. It's a liberty to be ready if you have an emergency situation. So it's a no-brainer for me, really.
The basic purpose of all winter tires is to provide additional and increased vehicle stability, and the result is more safety for the drivers of those vehicles. Well, winter tires, we've got to understand everything about them is oriented towards generating winter grip in all the various types of winter conditions that we can encounter, whether it be deep snow, wet ice, slush, even dry roads. But primarily what we do is when we're designing winter tires and bringing them to the Canadian market is we're looking at two primary areas of the tire. We're looking at the tread compound and we're looking at the actual tread design. The tread compound is really key. What we require for successful winter tires regarding the compounding is a very supple, very soft compound, and that allows the tread area itself to be able to mold itself to the irregularities of the road. It doesn't stiffen up and it doesn't get hard and skid across the ice or snow that you encounter. So a soft, supple compound is really key. What Yokohama does in addition to that is we have some technology that actually absorbs a little bit of the water that the tire encounters when it's going through wet ice or a wet surface. We were able to wick away that level of moisture, a small level of moisture at almost the microscopic level that these tires can encounter. That allows the tire tread itself to get down through the water and right down to the surface of the road and generate grip, and that's the secret. You got to generate grip. The tires that go on light trucks, typically what they come from the factory would be an all-season tire. And all-season tires are generalist tires. They're successful when they're used in the three seasons, certainly spring, summer, and fall, and they have some amount of capability regarding winter weather driving, but they're certainly not winter tires as far as it goes regarding their snow capability in severe weather.
Ice Driving Canada boasts one of the longest ice tracks built on a lake in North America, and their experts offer to help us out in our comparison between winter tires and all-season tires on the Ford trucks. And trust me when I say, these guys know a thing or two about driving fast on slippery surfaces.
Ice driving is high-performance driving programs on a frozen lake located in Saint-Agathe-des-Monts in the Laurentians area. We've inspired ourselves from what we see in Scandinavia on big lakes, those long tracks. We have a road course that totals 3.2 kilometers. It's like a big road racing track on a frozen lake, and we have a bunch of skid pads and skid areas, so it's really rally on ice, really. It's really unique. I mean, you're always out of control trying to regain control. You have to balance the car all the time, like we practice the Scandinavian flick. If you approach a slow turn, like a hairpin turn, you have to swing the car the other way around. So it's really always on the edge, always losing control, like on the edge of going off the track. So it's really on the limit all the time. If you're good on the ice, you'll be good on the rain and even be able to bring the car to its limit on a dry surface. People sometimes they take the cheap route and they don't have the proper tires, but it's so important.
The difference you're going to feel with a winter tire is you're going to feel much more security. First of all, accelerate more quickly. They'll be able to get away from a stop, but more importantly, they're going to be able to brake more confidently. It's one thing to have a 4x4 vehicle and you can get your 4x4 planted and take off from a standstill. It's another thing to get that thing stopped. And winter tires will give you the braking confidence that you require for safety. The other thing is lateral stability. All-season tires provide a decent level of lateral stability in winter weather, but not to the extent of a dedicated winter tire on a light truck. You're going to have good response, good turn-in, and you're going to have just much more confidence. And those things combined will make a much safer driving experience for you.
Yeah, when I'm out there driving the STI at full blast on the road course, I'm fully in control. I can bring the car very close to its limit at all times in each corner. I can do that for 45-minute stints if I have the time and the desire to do so. But the threshold of the limit is very thin. You can trespass the limit very easily. It's very dangerous very quickly.
For our comparison, we decided to do 3 basic tests: a drag race, just because drag races are fun, a braking test, and a slalom course to show the differences between winter-rated tires and no seasons. I mean, all seasons. The surface we're testing on is the main straight at IDC. Being a lake surface, it's solid ice and slippery. With this comparison, we had no way of accurately timing each stage, so it's more of a seat-of-the-pants and visual comparison of all-season and winter-rated tires. In addition, each truck would be run in 4x4 with traction control turned on. Visually, the black F-150 has got the all-season tires, while the blue truck has got the winter boots. The drag race was first up and is the only scenario where the 2 F-150s are pitted against each other in a heads-up first-to-the-finish race. Even though we knew the Yokohama Ice Guard tires had the advantage, it was still interesting to see the winter tires pull away from the all-seasons. And even though it doesn't look like it, both trucks are at wide-open throttle with the traction control feeding in the power the whole way.
The drag race was a good showcase to show the traction that you had from a standing start. And it was clear to see that, with the 4-season, you were spinning wheels. Even with the traction control, it was just like crawling at turtle pace. So even in a drag race, it's going to predict the kind of performance you're going to have in the next braking zone. If you don't have good traction, you won't have good cornering, nor you won't have good stopping power.
Next is the braking comparison, and results are as expected.
Well, as you know, if you're approaching a stop sign, ice is forming in the braking zone because of the friction. So it's paramount that you need good braking power. So stop lights, stop signs, emergency braking maneuvers, it's very important to have that braking power and shortest braking distance rather, yeah. Yeah, we started to experiment at about 30, 35, 40 kilometers. And then we were surprised at the length of the braking distance. So, and once again, proper winter tires, shorten those distances. So it's always a shocker to see the difference. Feeling the vehicle slide without being able to control it is not a fun feeling. You feel like you're a passenger. There's no grip. You're just sitting behind the wheel. There's nothing you can do. So imagine if you're gonna hit a vehicle, because you're gonna hit that vehicle because you have no control whatsoever. You have no braking power, you have no steering power, you just feel like a passenger. So it's not fun at all.
The last test was the slalom course, which incorporates an acceleration component, lateral G-forces while changing directions, and braking. Again, this test was a seat-of-the-pants comparo, but you can see even visually the black, all-season equipped Ford F-150 struggle as compared to the truck with the winter tires.
The Slalom course was like a huge magnifier. It was really showcasing the big gap between the all-season and the winter tires. For example, with the all-season, when I was approaching the first slalom gate, small steering input, small slip angle, the back end was trying to come out, oversteer a bit, then the anti-skid system would kick in with the front, and right away, even at low speed. Whereas with the winter tires on that truck, I could get quicker and be more in control, and the speed difference was huge. That slalom exercise was really a big window to see how those tires would behave, because it's the same thing if it's a long radius turn or tighter radius turn. As soon as you're putting load, you're going to see how those tires are going to behave. So as I was saying, is slightly oversteer as you start to turn in, then understeer, and the system will try to correct the maneuvers of the truck. So it was plain to see the difference once again. So it was a good exercise for that. So you can really translate that in any type of corners, any driving situation on the street.
At the end of the day, we also decided to attach the trailer to the blue F-150 with the Yokohama Ice Guard winter tires and rerun the braking test. The extra stopping distance even surprised the guys from Ice Driving Canada.
That braking test was an eye-opener for me. I don't have much experience driving with trailers, and it was a shocker. I mean, the traction, there was none, and it took me a long time to get going, and the braking was a long braking zone. I felt like a passenger without control for a long time. So be careful out there when you're pulling trailers, especially loaded trailer. Be careful. You need the right tires.
So there you have it. At 25 kilometers an hour, we've almost doubled our stopping distance with a truck with winter tires towing a trailer. Think about that next time you're traveling down the highway at 100K. As snowmobilers hauling trailers in all kinds of conditions, we have to be on our game when towing our toys, and it's important to be prepared for when conditions turn nasty. I'm a believer in winter tires. A few years ago, I knew my mud terrain tires could get me through anything, but I was wrong. Making the decision to run winter tires on our cars as well as my pickup truck was one of the best driving habits I could have improved on, and I'm always surprised at how well they perform all winter long. So what do you do when you have a brand new F-150, fairly icy parking lot, and nobody around watching? You do donuts.